Hello, so this is the first little video about the Torch computer. You may have seen two of these in a video a couple of months ago being saved from literally being thrown into the skip. And yeah, this computer, among quite a few others from that day, have all been a little bit worse for wear. All of them have not quite worked. All of them have had reefer capacitors popping here, there and everywhere. Still yet to actually capture one on a video. Actually, here's one from a video coming up soon. That's a Xerox computer just smoking up like the 4th of July. Anyway, Pete, who volunteers on and off at the Micro Museum down the road, offered to lend a hand with repairing some of these. And it's amazing that some people have offered to lend a hand. For instance, some of the computers are over time of software, getting a little bit of a spruce up and then going to pop back here. Chris is getting this IBM up and running to get it to play an 8-bit guy game. And Pete offered to fix a few of them. So this is the first one that he focused on. This video is quite a bit of a mishmash. There's no real narration, but it's from the stage of Pete taking it away and then getting it back here and it actually up and running and actually showing a screen. We haven't got any further with it yet, but it's just up to that point. He also took the second one away and got that one working as well. However, it does need the monitor looking at. But Pete had this for a couple of months and was on and off working on it a little bit. We've got some videos coming up and a bit of him filming kind of the process of it. But Pete took this to the Centre of Computing History in Cambridge, the 1982 special open day. And here's a little bit of an excerpt from the video on that. The full link to the full video of all the computers there. It looked like a really awesome day. Is available below as well. But here we go.
And then we had a big metal behemoth.
Right, and then lastly, we've got the Torch Communicator. This isn't actually mine. This is Sam Battle, who works this museum is not obscure, which is in Ramsgate in Kent, and from Look Mum No Computer. So this is his one. The story behind this was there was someone was doing a house clearance, and up in the attic they found all these computers. And I mean, this attic had a huge loft conversion,
right?
And it was just a huge space, like ridiculously so. It was full to the brim of computers, just of all different states, and they were all going to go into the skip.
Right.
And it was one of Sam's friends had the job of doing the clear out, and he just said to Sam, "Oh, do you want some of these computers?" So the fella just filled up his van, essentially, bought what he could out of Sam, but Sam didn't even get half the collection. The rest just had to go into the skip. And you're talking, there was two of these. There was two serious computers, endless pets. There was XD Sorcerer in there, and it was just one of those heartbreaking things where you don't let yourself think too much about what went into the skip.
Well,
try and think of all the generic, not even the generic ones that would break your heart to think about.
You've already upset me deeply, so
yeah, don't.
So we'll finish this interview here, I think.
But back to the Torch. This is one of the most fascinating machines that I think I've seen in a long time. It's one of those machines that you think they built it because they could, and not because there was much point to it in some degrees. Because I mean, the back of it, I don't know. I mean, it's got a bit of a
bit rusty, but patina, nice. But it's not the Antiques Roadshow, mate.
It's basically made out of like tank metal.
Yeah.
It's so thick and heavy. But if we look in the back here, so that's basically, it's a BBC Model B board.
Yeah.
I don't know, can you, if you point down to the connections down here, they haven't even removed the connections off the BBC board.
No.
They've just made bent some aluminium in and made their own fittings and fixtures in there. When you think this was a time of cost cutting, yeah. Cost cutting. When people just wire wires onto there and just bodge wire everything in.
Yeah.
They've put so much time and money into doing that.
Yeah. But they were expensive, these things. These were sold into, in quotes, the professional market, where, businesses wanted a machine that could do CPM and run business packages, and was built to be abused to a certain extent. That's what this is for. So the cost wasn't so much the issue. But there's some really nice little design features on these things in the way they work. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you put the lid back on, yeah, not easy. And that's the CPM board there, I should just say. Let's have a look at that.
Z80 board, and then you've got the Lucy.
Yeah, Z80.
You've got the Lucy chip on top of there as well.
Yeah, ours doesn't have that. I'm not sure what that's about.
Teletext board, I think,
right.
Or a Presto board.
Right. And a cub monitor built into it. So, yeah, they are big. But when it's on your desk, if you need a bit of desk space, because the thing is, when you were using your desk back then in the 80s, you weren't always just doing computing. You know, you might be writing on a piece of paper. I mean, we don't do it anymore, but you know, we did do that once. You know, so if you want your desk space back, if you just take that and put it up there. If you look at the edges there, they should, because we've got the cable trapped underneath, but they fit perfectly. So it was designed. Let's have a look at the other end. The other end's doing it properly, yeah.
Oh, there we
something
go.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I didn't realise that.
And it just sits up there and is out your way, which is just like really nice little touch.
Yeah. The good thing is, if it ever breaks, you've got yourself a free boat anchor as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, what more do you want from the machine?
If you write a program on it and you want to kill yourself, you can drag it around, attach it around your leg, jump in the river.
Strap it to yourself and jump away. Yeah.
I mean, they are a bit of a beast, but you know, they serve that purpose, and it was the beginning of Torch. I mean, they based their first machines on the BBC Micro with the CPM addition, so you could run, again in quotes, business software. But then they went on to make sort of other completely different Unix machines, and you know, and did a lot of business. So they're an interesting thing, like you say.
And yeah, you're always going to have that base of a very well-built machine of your first ones. That's what you're going to be known for. Yeah. We only look back now thinking, oh, this is why did they waste money, spend money, doing all these bits and bobs. But at the time, people were looking at that thinking, my goodness, that's really well made.
Yeah. So. And you bought one product. You bought the Torch computer. Yeah. You didn't have to go and buy a screen. You didn't have to go and buy anything else. It was all there, ready to roll. Yeah. Plug it in, and away you go. So brilliant. Right. Oh, and the old jack plug there. That's for the modem, which again is built in. Don't know if I can focus on that. But that's what we used to use in the UK for our phone plugs back in the day.
It's funny, isn't it, when even a modem plug gives you nostalgia. Can't go wrong with that, can you?
Everything gives me nostalgia. Anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah,
cheers, Pete. Thanks very much for bringing all this stuff along. Really do appreciate it, as usual. We'll see you again in the next one.
Anyway, let's have a little bit more of a look.
Hello. So, Sam's asked me to repair this Torch computer. And it's so heavy, I don't know whether to thank him or not before he pays for my osteopath bills. But I've made a makeshift table, a temporary table, just to put it on because it's too big for my normal workbench. But anyway, this is the Torch. And as beat up and rusty as it looks at the moment, hopefully we can get something pretty nice out of it. I believe Sam's got two. And the idea is to have them communicating with each other over the space of his museum and the Micro Museum in Ramsgate, which is also a fantastic place to visit. Okay, so if we have a look at this computer, it's a very fascinating machine. It's essentially a BBC Micro, as you can see from the back here, and it's just been placed as is into the case of the Torch, with the connectors just linked to the equivalents on the back there. And then it's also got a Z80 board placed inside it. So this should be a pretty fascinating machine to get up and running. Okay, more to follow. Here we go, so just an example of how to get to the power supply. Taking the Z80 board off. Let's take a drive out of here. Let's take the modem board off. The motherboard, which was there like that. Well, more like that, up here. And then eventually you can get down to the bolts, which you can just see one in the corner, just down there, and another one there, another one there, another one over there. And then eventually you can get in, and now I've got to try and lift it out through this ridiculously small gap that you can see. Ah, the Torch. Why didn't they catch on like all the other computers?
Right, let's do this. Let's have a look. So, Phil? Yeah, Pete's been fixing these for the last, I'd say 2 months, hasn't it been?
Yeah, 2 months to a decade, something like that.
Yeah, and I think he wants me to hurry up because it's pretty damn heavy. How much are you working away? It's 20 kilograms, 25, 30?
Yeah, I think it's about 15 to 20. Yeah, sorry, 50, yeah.
Getting 50. Go on then, I'll put you out of your misery. Let's try and stack them up. We're going to see if they work. And you can tell us what you've done. Oof.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
in focus, get in focus. Oh, you're going at the bottom one, not the top?
We're going on the bottom.
We're going low.
Don't trust the wobble on that.
Right, so we're going to plug it in, and so let's see the moment.
What is it?
Bloody typical, isn't it?
It's positive.
Oh, that's come unsoldered from something.
Yeah, it's coming from the board.
Where's it come from? Do I need to go and get
Just there.
Time for the warm up. Oh, here we go. It's looking happy, not-ish. It's not booting though.
There we go.
Ah!
Yay, there we
Look
go.
at that. So we have. There's definite life in this. Wow, that's a blatant lie. This one specifically, let's have a rerun through what was wrong with it.
This one, the comms boards for some reason had just gone a bit funny and they were interfering with the keyboard. Somehow I came across that in an old book somewhere and it was the only reference I found to it. And it was actually a book I was reading, so it was analogue. Couldn't even Google that. You can't Google everything. But yeah, it turns out that if those boards or the chip has gone, then it affects the keyboard. But because we were going for a modern solution anyway with the comms boards, it seemed just logical just to undo them. So that's why this wire here is loose. Because the comms boards are out. The power board, the PSU board had gone. If we turn it round, we can show the lovely people on the internet that this is, a lot of you will recognise that as a BBC board. But if you look at what they've done, all they've done is shoved it straight in. So look at all this engineering they've done around here, where they've bent all the aluminium round and everything, just to literally put the board in. All there is, when you take the motherboard out, is a load of connectors and you just slot the motherboard in.
No.
So they've spent all this money, where not a lot of people would just use jumper wires and, unsolder things, and not spend money on extra parts and that. These guys have bent all the aluminium up and made the connectors and everything like that. So all you do is put the board in and that's it, done.
So you're saying underneath these 5-pin DINs, there's 5-pin DIN males?
Yeah,
picking up...
exactly.
What?
Absolutely.
No.
Right, yeah.
That's insane.
And the other funny thing is, someone possibly didn't do their maths right, because when you put the lid on, you might notice there's a bit missing from these, which is the pins that come up on there. So on BBC boards, they got the extra bits that comes out from these connectors, and you just pull them apart a little bit and it pops the connector out. But because the lids didn't fit, they then had to go and hack all the connectors off to get the lids to fit on. Otherwise it's about 0.5 centimetre too high and it just doesn't fit. And yeah, even things like the Ethernet stuff and everything like that, it's just got extensions to the back here.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you look down there where the RF is, even that goes down into a male RF and then goes out to the analogue output, which is along there.
That's mad. Some crazy designs.
And it's got, of course, the Z80 board strapped to the side as well. Literally a BBC with a Z80 board bolted to the side of it.
And you said there was
beautiful, fascinating machine.
there was something else hanging about, wasn't there? That was removed, wasn't it? There was another set of boards hanging.
The board that was
dangling.
flopping around, I remounted. Yeah, that's this one on top here. This is the Lucy chip, which is I think it's the Prestel chip, which does like teletext and stuff like that.
Aha.
Because you've got the normal communicator board, which is around the side here, just there, which is the general modem and everything like that.
Wow.
Which goes to the old. I think you use these in your exchange, didn't you? Where's the? Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, look at them.
Telephone lines.
Look at that beaut.
So we've got the next step is to figuring out what the heck to make it do. Now it works. Big thanks to Pete.
Got there in the end.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it's such a fascinating machine. I love it.
It's so chunky. So now it is up and running. I guess we need to decide what to actually do with it. Pete mentioned that the keyboards are still being a little bit funny. I did shoot a bit of video, but for some reason the audio didn't record. But he mentioned that he managed to fashion a keyboard out of a BBC Micro keyboard, because the originals, there's a bit of a funny chip in there that he hasn't tested. So we need to have another look at that. But that means we can actually type on it. So this is basically a BBC Micro with a bunch of extra features. So what the heck do we do with both of them? They both have modems. So yeah, the jury's out. What do you reckon? Comment below. And anyway, until next time from The Torch, have a lovely time.